As we all know, Oxide just plays out a little bit different than these other maps in PvP. Let's get this party started. In the top right side, we are looking at the main base of our birthday boy. Van harte gefeliciteerd, Kev. It's happy birthday in Dutch. This is Harstem.
And spawning over in the bottom left in this Team Liquid team kill, it is MaNa. You know, whenever I see players in jerseys and stuff, I have to give it like a double check because there's so many Team Liquid jerseys these days in a whole array of colors that I'm like, oh, that one's cool too.
Yeah, that's like the Marvel edition. They've got a whole bunch of stuff that's Marvel inspired. I've got a Team Liquid Captain America jersey. Don't ask me how that happened, but yeah, it just showed up in my mailbox. I'm like, cool, I'm Captain America now. I'll take it. Now, PvP on Oxide, guys, is obviously a bit different because of that tiny ramp that leads into the natural. Because of that, people don't want to wall off on the high ground, but they want to wall off on the low ground. And they both want to go one gate fast expand, but because... Oh, okay, well, that is actually not supposed to happen. How did Harstem get that down? Oh, MaNa is actually sending out a second probe. It's on purpose.
Yeah, okay, Kevin. So, like, that gas, like the gas from Harstem, he was very greedy and actually hid his probe at the natural. So MaNa didn't actually spot it, so he went to sneak it out quickly.
Yeah, but MaNa is okay. Yeah, exactly. MaNa is
he's okay with it, yeah.
Yeah, because he's like, oh no, that's happening. Wow, you've got such a quick expand now. Can you, by the way, like, I don't want to start any drama here, Ben. You know me, I'm a drama-free guy, but is it truly okay in 2021 to wish someone a happy birthday and then Void Ray rush them 2.5 minutes later? Because I don't know if that's what friendship is all about.
It's not true etiquette, is it, Kevin? But, like, I will say, when I say something at the start of the game, like, oh, GL, have fun, happy birthday, you know, I will follow up with something like this. I think this is MaNa doing what all those ladder barcodes do to me every day, where they're like, oh, it's so nice of him to wish me GL have fun, while cheesing the absolute living crap out of me.
I still think, though, that as a defender, this is not the worst thing in the world. Like, Harstem wasn't born last night, and Harstem is not like, oh, wow, this is such a free win for me. Like, we're both going to do Stargate, but mine is going to be, like, a bit later, but I have an expand, and you don't. Wow, this is free win. No. You can see him scout for it immediately, and the Adept Shade is actually going to find the Stargate. So at this point, Harstem knows what time it is, and I think it's time to get a couple of batteries as well. Wow, killing the probe would be so big. That's actually really nice. Well done by Harstem.
Yeah, what shield battery getting down? Because this is going to be a battle of shield batteries, most likely. I'm not sure how or where MaNa's going to start fighting, but I look at this, and I'm not disliking it for Harstem actually at all, depending on how he uses resources right here, because that wall off outside as well, it's really, really smart by him.
Yep, no, I'm totally with you. I really feel that the ball is in Harstem's corner, and if he doesn't mess up, if he doesn't do anything derpy with his Void Race... Oh, this is actually kind of a derpy start, because now he's going to end up losing that Stalker, I think, before the battery is done, or we're going to prioritize killing the battery, but this is great for MaNa regardless. Oh, Harstem, you knew that the one thing that MaNa had going is that he had a quicker Stargate than you. In my opinion, that was a bit sloppy. He does save the Stalker, but he lost the battery and a lot of damage on that Stalker too.
And it's going to be 2v1 soon in the main base. I know he's got the Stalker at the natural, but I feel he needs to prioritize this main base. Oh, he's actually got an Adept on the other side of the map too. This is going to get real dicey, real spicy very quickly.
Yep, he actually shoots shade that Adept into the main base of MaNa immediately. There is a nice little choke point where that one Adept can kill a lot of probes. Battery overcharge being activated. Harstem is actually going to get a Void Ray kill. And one Void Ray kill is massive. And now he's going to get quite a bit of damage on the second Void Ray too. Wow. This went from kind of bad to absolutely amazing for Harstem. Because don't forget, it's double chrono against single chrono. And his Adept can still kill a couple of probes too in the main base of MaNa.
Yeah, I mean, this Adept fight over here, it's going to end pretty equally for both of them. Oh, Harstem's actually just going to get away, but Harstem, he has all the time in the world now. He can put down more shield batteries than he needs. He's going to be mining more than his opponent. MaNa, he goes for a Nexus back at home now with a Twilight Council. He kind of knows this aggression hasn't worked out for him.
Yeah, I almost feel like he's just going for the Hail Mary DTs here, because is this really a situation where you can start making a couple of Stalkers when you're down 13 workers and a base technically, because his Nexus is nowhere near done. Oh man, I felt like if this was ever going to work, this was technically a good start for MaNa when he got all the damage on the Stalker immediately and the cancel on the first battery, because that's the most difficult one to cancel. But he really got jebaited, right? In range of that battery overcharge, and Yep. Then you think you can take a fight, but you can't take a fight. So a Dark Shrine it indeed is.
You know, I'm a little bit surprised that MaNa went for that particular spot with the Stargate in the first place. Like, very often when I see this stuff happen, when you see a wall off at the natural, you can kind of abuse that and use that against them while having one extra Void Ray. Obviously, you always have to contend with the fact that they've got overcharge, but yeah, this spot just felt so far away. But that one Adept killing the probe, I think that was really the start of things going wrong for MaNa.
Yeah, but I guess he just wanted to deal some economic damage. If you can get on top of the mineral line, it's going to be good for you because then you're forcing him to build extra gases in the natural. And obviously you don't want to be a one-base Protoss. So I think it was just to completely overrun the main base of MaNa. Harstem is obviously a very smart player. He realizes that he's very far ahead. So after the 4 Void Rays, he queues up an Oracle. And now he's got some Revelation to work with against these DTs.
Yeah, MaNa's definitely got a mountain to climb and not... Oh, he's actually killing his own Stargate above the gateway. I guess he's like, you know what? I don't actually need anything out of that Stargate anymore, and the gateway's probably going to be handier later on. Resource-wise, definitely not worth it, but in terms of playing the late game and knowing he's ahead, definitely a decent choice, I think.
It's going to be hard for this Oracle to get a lot of damage, but the Oracle does pick up the probe that was trying to allow MaNa to go up to 3 bases. Triple Void Ray leashes on that Oracle, but the Oracle gets away. It's really all about them DTs. Now, the Oracle is actually like the Stalkers. The Stalkers are forming a wall off. And Harstem is even getting a cannon. He's just so convinced that he cannot lose this game unless it's DTs. Now, the Oracle is going to get home. It's going to drop a Revelation on this first DT. I'd lose a couple probes here, but it's completely acceptable. I think Harstem is still in a marvelous spot.
Does MaNa have any sort of detection, though? Because he's also going to be up against DTs here on the other side of the map, right? Or where did Harstem warp his DTs in? No. Oh,
you need a dark shrine to warp in DTs, Benjamin.
My bad. I was looking at the totally wrong thing. I was like, am I seeing double here?
I know you're getting a bit older and everything, so it's okay.
Mate, the hair fell out, and then everything went freaking topsy-turvy from then on. It was terrible. Okay, MaNa does start up his third, though, and say he was so far behind, he's done a damn good job of keeping the probe production going, but yeah, I mean, this is definitely going to be really hard for him.
I do feel that with the great position that Harstem was in, he could have done a little more, but I guess his #1 priority was like, all right, let's just get those 3 bases going. Let's be safe against the DTs, and then I'm going to try to push my luck. At this point, he does still have a pretty big army advantage. And yeah, these 4 Void Rays with Prismatic Alignment, just go for the battery immediately. And I think this is a game, man. I don't see any way how MaNa's going to clean this up.
No, I mean, he's been playing catch-up the whole time, and he had kind of 2 choices, right? It was like, I either try and kill my opponent, which I can't do. I'm going to try and play greedy behind it. It's not going to happen, and MaNa knows it. And Harstem takes a pretty damn convincing game 1, honestly.
Yep. I think a couple of key moments in the early game, because that's really what all of this boils down to when one person goes for the defensive Void Rays and the other one goes for the aggressive Stargate. I thought MaNa had a good start. I think getting a cancel on that battery is awesome. Then he just got jebaited into following that 1 Void Ray, thinking you could kill that Void Ray, and then you're suddenly taking a fight where like, okay, I'm risking my own Void Ray now, but this is okay. Then battery overcharge gets activated, you end up losing your Void Ray, you're like, oh, this is really not okay, because now his opponent has double chrono, he's got single chrono, and that obviously means that Harstem will never be outnumbered in the Void Ray count anymore. Just well done by Harstem, and kind of what we predicted, Harstem being the defender, MaNa being the aggressor.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about that whole situation. You obviously play a lot more PvP than I do, but I know this kind of style isn't necessarily something that goes down with your style, right? Because I know that the expansion game, unless
I'm a macro god, an honorable macro god. You can
an honorable macro god, all right, an honorable macro god. Whenever I see that a Protoss is taken and expanded, I've gone for, you know, my expansion's going to be later. The response is always like, I mean, you have to get something done. Like, you have to, but it's always so tricky because it's like, I've seen Max Packs do some sneaky stuff by getting a Phoenix out very quickly and then playing the Phoenix game. But yeah, whenever I see that Expo going down and I know that mine's going to be getting blocked, I know I'm already in a world of trouble. So I think that situation, I don't want to say it caught MaNa off guard because he did have the second probe out, very quickly, but
yeah, it was his plan. This really was MaNa's plan all along. I don't know if he did want to block that Nexus a bit later, but obviously if you block the Nexus longer, then the Cybercore is quicker, and then the Stargate is quicker too. So I don't know if that would even work out in your own advantage. Like maybe he did want the Nexus to be first, because then he would obviously always have that little window where he's got a Void Ray more. It's 1 against 0, 2 against 1, 3 against 2, but you can't lose one. The moment you lose one Void Ray with the build that MaNa went for, it is all over.
It's all over, you know, like I've heard Big Gabe talk about that green battery a lot recently, and whenever you are the defender and you're able to use that shield battery overcharge against somebody that's literally relying on just one shield battery, given that you lost a probe, you're in a real dicey spot. And the fact that the Nexus wasn't up or even started for MaNa as well. Yeah, I like that game to start things off, because I think, as you said, it really showcased both their styles down to a T.
Oh man, if you like that, I've got great news for you. We've got a lot of Protoss qualifying for the DreamHack Masters and AFAL as well. And I think you'll see a few more Void Ray openings on the other side of the map. Here in Game 2, top left side of Romanticide, we're looking at the main base of our Polish Protoss. He's down 0-1, needs a W. It is MaNa.
And one of my favorite Dutchmen named Kevin playing over the bottom right. It is not Rotterdam, it is Harstem. You're one of my favorites too, though, Kevin.
You said one up, so I was like, all right, I'm in the clear. I'm in the clear. There's no way you know another one. So if he's one of, I'm definitely D. So I'll take that.
Yeah, it was funny for a while. Like sometimes, you know, I'll be like, Kevin, he's up to his old tricks. And they'll be like, talking about Harstem. I'm like, you're right. It is actually kind of difficult. Two very prevalent StarCraft 2 players are called Kevin and are both Dutch and both play Protoss.
And you know the funniest thing? Harstem lives in Rotterdam and I don't.
He's even more Rotterdam than you are.
I know. I'm a fraud, mate.
Oh, all right.
No, all right. So we're... Yeah, sorry, Ben, but like we're obviously having a good time, and that's important. But for MaNa, I do think this is a really important series, because after the previous season finished up, summer, he literally just said, it turned out that my first best of 3 against Harstem was the most crucial one. And he didn't get the W there, and he didn't make it into the playoffs for the first time in his career. I feel like if you start off DreamHack Masters Fall with a loss against the same player that basically prevented you from making it into the playoffs last season, that's a pretty rough start.
Super rough start. And I mean, that kind of mental, it's almost foreshadowing, right? Like, oh no, this happened to me last season. Is it going to be the my Achilles heel again this season? Because, I mean, these groups, they're not easy. And like, this is one of the games that I don't want to say MaNa should win, because it's not like that at all. They're both very close, but that midfield fight, it's going to be ridiculously hard. And yeah, that can definitely break you down a little bit. But these players are such veterans at this point. I don't know, man.
I mean, you've got a Showtime and a Rainer in this group.
Yeah,
those are going to be tough, man. I know Showtime did have a 2-0 defeat against Skillers the other day, so it's not like impossible for MaNa to maybe get a W there, but it's a tough group. Gongfu is no easy W either, and I think Cristiano is someone that nobody is very excited to go up against, because you know that young Polish Protoss has a couple of very feisty builds up his sleeve. Now, Game 2, both players starting off with the Sentry and the Stalker, so very macro-oriented openings. MaNa going for a Stargate in his main. Harstem has not seen that yet. No, Harstem hasn't seen that. So I guess Harstem is just going to go Twilight Forge, and MaNa's going to play Oracles.
Yeah, Harstem prioritized the quicker Nexus going down, whereas MaNa was like, you know what, I'm just going to get out the Oracle ASAP. I think they both got the scout off on what they're going to go with, as in the Sentry Stalker early on. But now they're both going to get to confirm exactly what they're up against, and Harstem gets the scout right, good and proper, as does MaNa. So we're just going into a very normal game with two very different openers.
I gotta say, I kind of hate going up against Oracles when I have a triple Sentry opening. The nice thing about it is that you can kind of keep track of the Oracles. You can use your hallucinated Phoenixes to just follow them, so you shouldn't be caught out of position. The downside is that obviously Sentries are not as good against Oracles as Stalkers are, so you're really not allowed to make any error, because Oracles actually deal double damage against Sentries.
Yeah, I have definitely made the mistake where I'm like, oh, I've got 4 Sentries, no problem, Oracle kills them. I'm like, oh no, this is terrible. Oh, I like the movement. Oh, very good defense by Harstem. He's more than prepared for this. But Harstem with the hallucination, using that to scout for the Oracle, it's exactly what you said, and he's used it very, very well here.
It's actually kind of nice. You can just pretend that you're attacking it, and then it will just automatically follows it. And you're like, cool. This actually should allow me to always be in the right position. This is where things get a little bit tricky. Double Oracle. So I like the split up of units of Harstem so far. 3 Stalkers in the main, and then the slightly weaker army, the 2 Stalkers and the Sentries, they are actually protected by that shield battery. So far, a flawless defense by Harstem, who's more than ready. That probe could have been picked up. Might still get picked up. Nope, Harstem is just not giving MaNa anything.
Yeah, he's bulletproof this game. So I wanted to ask you as this was happening, how do you feel that MaNa kind of revealed the second Oracle here with the Phoenix? When I looked at that, I was like, does he really want to give this information away right here, right now? Because now Harstem knows he can just kind of, you know, play just as defensive as he is, or...
I'm not sure. I mean, a single Oracle obviously will not deal damage against the defensive setup, so I don't hate the idea of MaNa trying to get the Oracles together and then just run into the main base and see if you can get lucky, because if there were only 2 Stalkers there, then he definitely could have just dived into that natural, or the main base rather, and just get on top of those probes and get a couple kills. I don't think it's that big of a deal, and it's just nice to have them together, I guess.
All right, and the third Nexus is going down very, very solidly. Like MaNa, he's not really having to use the hallucinations all that much because he's got the Oracles constantly scouting and poking, but they're both definitely mirroring each other at this point. The third Nexus go down almost exactly at the same point in time. The armies as well, look at these +1 timings. It's just a true romanticized PvP at this point.
Yep, but I do like it for Harstem. I feel like if I'm the one with the quicker Twilight upgrades, and I know that my opponent has spent resources on a Stargate and not 1 but 2 Oracles, and I have taken literally 0 damage, guys. This is not like almost 0 damage. No, it's literally 0 damage. That's pretty good. You know, you still have to respect that those Oracles are out there. You can't afford to make a mistake. MaNa is very careful. You can see that because he could have maybe gone in there, kill a couple pros, but he also knows that Blink is done around this time, so you don't really want to take too many risks. Yeah, I like it for the Dutchman.
Yeah, you're totally right. Like, the one thing is, Harstem does always have to be a little bit careful, quick on the trigger to warp in Stalkers for these Oracles, because they can always come in and deal that little bit of damage. Harstem's even getting cannons here. Do you think that's like just worried about the potential of DTs, or just want to make sure he has something ready for these run-bys that will, I guess, inevitably happen if this game goes on?
I mean, sometimes it's a bit hard to really analyze one cannon going down of a 63 probe economy, right? But I think it's just a bit of everything. It helps against the Oracles if you want to move your Stalkers out of position. It helps against the Zealot run-by. It helps against a random DT follow-up. So I think it's just one of these things that we shouldn't look too much into. Probably just likes having a cannon. Some people like having a cannon, Ben.
They're both so diligent about when they're going to put down the Nexuses and stuff, because they're obviously doing it in the right and proper way, right? Where they're both respecting one another. They're playing not greedy, because it's still very safe. Harvest count-wise, Harstem stopped at 66 for quite a bit of time here. That is the most random stasis, by the way, I've ever seen in the top of the map there.
What?
Like, above this one, there's a stasis.
That's like, actually often where they put the warp prism and they warp in 4 zealots, but yeah, it's kind of random. I agree.
I mean, it's more like hoping.
No, but it's almost like an observer ward. That's what it is. It's an observer that doesn't take. Yeah. So in that way, I actually kind of like it. It's kind of like an ops. You can see warp prisms fly by.
That's absolutely true. The armies are so strong by both of them. Like, Harstem's got a lot more zealots. MaNa's got 2 more Archons here, but he's also got a lot of the more Mortals.
If that battery finishes up, I don't think that Harstem can really do a lot here. It's also kind of hard to attack. There is a stasis trap too. It's nice to have Blink, but Harstem doesn't have too many Stalkers. But it is an important thing to keep in the back of our mind, because if these armies kind of reset each other, then the best thing you can do is actually warp in Stalkers, because Blink Stalkers really shine if the armies are small, right?
Oh yeah, certainly do. And that stasis ward, Kevin, is going to come in handy here. I mean, MaNa is fighting in the middle of the map at the same time, but he did kind of see it.
I mean, the main base of MaNa is very, very naked, so just a couple of Zealots could really mess him up here. And he just warped in a bunch of High Templars in the center, so I don't know if he can actually warp in anything defensively. The Oracles will be brought home. That's kind of nice, but the big fight is unfolding. I wouldn't hate a battery overcharge here, Harstem, right about now. he uses it, and MaNa wisely disengages because you're not going to kill a unit in range of battery overcharge.
These oracles, I love the fact that he's using them like this because they haven't been useful elsewhere, like the whole game pretty much.
Ooh, that's so many Archons though. MaNa might actually be able to do this, man. No more battery overcharge available. The cannons are going to provide some very useful DPS, but that is still so many Archons on the side of MaNa.
Yeah, I mean, all the gas in his army went to Immortals and Archons. He never got Blink, never got Stalkers, really, and wow, he's just muscling his way through here.
Actually really sick by MaNa. This is right when Harstem is trying to transition into the Robo Bay, into the second Robo, so a lot of resources went for that next phase of the game, but MaNa is having none of that. Skipping Blink and just ending it immediately. Actually really well done by both players. I like what Harstem did, and I really like what MaNa did. Also, the Oracle still being alive, using the stasis traps rather than the Revelation to get some scouting off, and then helping them, or make sure that they can help out defensively against the Zealot Warpins, and just hitting on that one little moment where he's got all the Archons, his opponent has a few less, because he is getting that second Robo, he's getting that Robo Bay, and I also love that he wasn't stubborn and took the entire fight in range of battery overcharge, because you ain't winning that fight, you're just not going to kill Archons, you're barely going to kill a Zealot. Really well done by MaNa.
Yeah, it was really cool. I also like the fact that he knew his Twilight Council was later, and he was like, you know what? I'm not going to get Blink at all. I'm not even going to get Stalkers. All his gas, he had 4 Immortals in that army, which Harstem didn't even have 1. He was like, I'm going to use that gas properly. And I mean, Stalkers are obviously really good, but it was a nice kind of like leapfrog technique by him, just to have a really damn good army, a bulky army, and then just hit at that timing. Because obviously at some point, Stalkers are really damn good. They start off really good, mid-game, maybe not the best, but then they become good again. Just really nice, clean timing by him. And yeah, he won by being the aggressor that game. And that's what we know MaNa for.
Yeah, it's safe to say that the Blink investment by Harstem obviously did nothing for him in this game. What it does do is that it allows you to be safer against the Oracles. Your opponent also knows that they can take certain risks. So to counter the Oracles, it was fine. But other than that, Harstem got absolutely nothing out of having Blink, and his opponent didn't have Blink. And that's perhaps a little missed opportunity, right? Because there's always something you can do with your Stalkers. You can run around, you can activate some barriers, you can pick off a Zealot. Because if you have Blink and your opponent doesn't, how is he supposed to catch the Stalkers, right? You don't really catch them. So you're supposed to just kind of lose a free unit over and over again. I would have loved to see maybe a 4 Stalker run by somewhere, try to gun down a couple probes and recall the Stalkers home. But high-level stuff by both of them, even if not that much happened in the first 6 or 7 minutes, I did enjoy it.
Absolutely. I was just thinking about that. Like, if he did have 4 Stalkers over on the other side of the map, obviously there's potential to recall them out and get away with like free damage and stuff. And he was constantly scouting. And it's really hard to deal with Blink Stalkers when, you know, like his tech, it was just Oracles for a long time. And then it was like straight into Zealots, Immortals and stuff. And obviously it's bulky, but catching those Blink Stalkers like behind the 3rd and then down on the 3rd, it's actually really damn hard to do.
Absolutely. So perhaps a little missed opportunity by this man. If he wins this one, he's going to have an incredible birthday. If he doesn't, well, hopefully he still has an incredible birthday, but it's going to sting a little bit. Our Dutchman, it is Harstem.
And spawning over on the other side, looking calm, cool, and composed. As always, it is MaNa. Did they change color, Kevin, or am I wapping?
I have no idea if they changed color or not.
Okay, apparently they did change color. I knew I didn't see, okay, the GTs that I saw in the first game that weren't there, yeah, that was totally my bad. But this time, I totally knew. So guys and girls, red is now MaNa, Harstem is now blue. And yeah, we're starting off on Jagannatha of all maps.
The score is obviously 1-1. This is our decider of our opening best of 3 of the day. That one's for you, Njal. 1-1, Njal. There you go, mate.
we must be horrible to work with. We always make things a little bit.
I kind of tried to do it in a very solid way. I was like, maybe he picks up on it, but he's like, no. I'm like, all right, mate.
I think we're gems, honestly. I think we're gems. Anyhow, both scouting, obviously. Double gate on the high ground. There's no cannon rush shenanigans from either one of them so far. I can't imagine Harstem ever can rushing anybody. MaNa though, maybe. Definitely seen him do it in PvZ now and then. Oh, Harstem.
I feel like if there is a new map pool where there is legitimately a very good cannon rush spot, Harstem is actually the kind of guy to do it once in a blue moon. Like, if Maxi Pexi or something pulls out a great cannon rush, Harstem is definitely the guy to take notes and then do it once himself. Like, he's not going to do it over and over again, but just as a surprise factor, a very random element. I don't think he's a stranger of busting it out. Now, this is kind of interesting because last game, obviously it's a romanticide thing, but we had Stalker Sentry for both players. Now you've got Stalker versus Adept. So Harstem is actually going to be the aggressor here. There's a good chance he's going to open up with a lot of Adepts. I don't expect this to be 2 Adepts into no more Adepts. I think we're going to get all the Adepts and some Oracles too, and just try to kill as many units as possible.
Yeah, and I like this switch up of tempo by Harstem because this isn't something you'd expect. Oh, he is actually going into Stalkers afterwards as well.
Yeah, but I guess with 2 Adepts and then Oracles, we can still find some decent damage.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it is a very close proxied Stargate by him, but I just like the fact that they're both mixing it up a lot. And now it's MaNa that's seemingly going to be the defender. I mean, he's at least getting his Nexus a lot quicker. Does find these Adepts, though, before they're actually close, and that's a nice little catch by MaNa.
You know what's interesting as well is that MaNa did scout 2 pylons in the main base of Harstem. Now, I don't know if he picked up on the fact that maybe one of them was a bit later or anything. I didn't actually keep track of that because we were trying to fix the scoreboard. But if I was MaNa, I wouldn't necessarily be thinking that my opponent is proxying. But Harstem is not the guy to open up with 2 Adepts very often. So that first Oracle is going to head into the main base. The shield battery is about to finish up, though. Absolutely perfect timing. My goodness, MaNa, that could not have been any better. That's insane, man. How the hell does he have perfect timing against a proxied Oracle? And now, Ben, he's got potential with his Stalkers on the other side of the map, because Stalkers are better than Adepts in these kinds of fights.
Yeah, he's even setting up a proxy pylon over to the far left as well. There's no shield battery here. And MaNa, there's one unit that he micros damn well, and that is Stalkers here. Harstem does warp in, does get the kill, actually. A bit of a misstep by MaNa there, jinxed him.
Yeah, there's one thing he does well, and that's like loses his Stalks to the Adept. But he did gun down the batteries, so that's actually something. The Oracle is still active in the natural. Harstem picking up 3 probes. Oh, now he's gonna lose it.
Oh, he misfired. Well, he does get the kill though. MaNa was smiling there, and Harstem, like, I love seeing the reactions on the cameras because they both were like, I'm getting away right. No, he isn't.
So Harstem is down 3 workers, and he's obviously under a bit of pressure. He knows that his opponent is going to have a few more Stalkers than he has. He actually fires up another Oracle. It's being chrono boosted out while a probe is zapping away at his pylon on the left side. MaNa is going to start the aggression. He's got 4 Adepts now. This is so random. Harstem does not have a probe on the high ground. This is going to get weird. The Adepts will go for the sentry. Battery overcharge doesn't really matter because the battery is just going to get gunned down. This is a wild attack by MaNa, man.
I like it a lot, though. Like, killing the sentry was one thing, but these Adepts, holy crap, are they MVPs in this situation? And, that Oracle usage is nice, and, we'll catch quite a few probes here, but Harstem is super on the back foot here. Look at that probe count, Kevin. That is terrible, terrible news.
Yep, and the worst thing for Harstem is obviously that he doesn't even have Blink on the way, and his opponent, his Blink is already halfway done. Harstem does have 2 Adepts, and they're going to find some damage too, and this is definitely the kind of stuff that Harstem needs to get back into this game. But yeah, it's safe to say that he needs a lot more than the 2 probes that he got so far. Recalls the Adepts home. Okay, they do make it home, but there's another Adept, actually, the one Adept that he forgot about. It was tucked away in the corner of the main base. Oh. This game is going from bad to worse for our birthday boy.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell it's hectic because they were both supply blocked for a little bit of time. MaNa's still going to be supply blocked here. Like, he's got the money to spend things. It just shows you that it is very, very chaotic here. MaNa really needs to sort that out, by the way. I know he's super far ahead, but still busy microing that Adept, which does go down with 9 kills on him.
That probe on the left side killed the pylon. As our observer is showing us too. That probe with 1 kill, that 1 kill was the pylon. Of course, this is the DreamHack Masters' fault. These are the big leagues for these guys, so they don't want to tap out early. If this was a ladder game, Harstem would be out of this one. But because there is so much to fight for, he's going to try to make a magical comeback happen. And it seems to be that he's going to try to make that happen off the back of Disruptors, right? That's the only thing that really makes sense here. Or is there a chance that he fires up 1 Colossus and then just makes a random gateway 1 Colossus sentry attack.
I think you nailed it with the Disruptor call, because, I mean, he knows he's against quite a lot of Stalkers here. I think he's been okay with the scouting. Going for a Colossus at this point, it's so hard, but his Twilight Council also, it's only halfway done. Like, in every way, shape, and form, he is behind, and MaNa, he's going to just start strangle-holding his opponent while getting a third down. MaNa's got himself into wonderful shape this game.
Yep. Every decision is kind of the wrong one because he's just so far behind. I mean, if you can get up to 4 or 5 disruptors, then anything is possible. But 1 disruptor will obviously not have a lot of impact here because MaNa has Blink, Harstem doesn't, and this game may very well just end here. There is absolutely nothing that Harstem can do. He is a sitting duck. It's MaNa who gets the revenge of the DreamHack Masters Summer.